it's not a good look for him. He walked into a quarterback controversy his first year on the job,
That's
which isn't fair.
That's a nice way of putting it, a quarterback controversy.
It is a controversy, and there's a quarterback involved. And the most talented quarterback on the roster is not starting. So it's look, man, anything that happens in Houston sports is like Murphy's Law. If it can happen, it will happen. We have been I'm not gonna say we've been cursed, but we have been through a litany of subpar quarterbacks, and the one time we get a superstar, or what looks like is going to be a superstar quarterback, something happens to derail that. So some say it's payback for the Astros cheating and winning the championship. I'm okay with that. We won a championship in 2017.
I'll take it.
Yeah, and it looks like we might do it again. But yeah, it is what it is, man. He's not going to play there. It's over.
Welcome back to the TheVisionLab podcast in partnership with Next One Creative. I'm your host, Ryan Cuffey, alongside my co-host, Mr. Ryan Mosley. Yeah, we're just going to kick back, hang out, have a great time. We've got none other than Ryan Rayford in the building. Mo, we're in a special location today.
Yeah. Shout out to Edwina Brown and the entire family here at Blowing Smoke Cigar Lounge in their new location, 1604 North I-35 here in Lancaster, Texas. Congratulations, EB, on the new locale. It is beautiful in here.
Yep.
Nice. Yes, gorgeous.
Very pretty.
Yes, there's definitely a woman's touch to it. We are not complaining. Visionaries, make sure you get here. I mean, you walk in and it is what you want in a cigar lounge. I think that's the easiest way to put it. Humidor looks great. Plenty of seating. It's
open
gorgeous.
Space.
Yeah, open space. So yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah, dope facility for sure.
So let's get into a little Drew Estate.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, you guys are, world-renowned, fantastic product. A lot of different lines, faces. Are we expecting something new? Are there any new wrinkles that we should know about?
There are a few surprises planned towards the end of the year and beginning of next year, but I can't really say much more than that. But there were plans to unveil some things at DE25, which has now been postponed till next year. Don't have a new date on that yet, but I'm sure we'll be sharing details soon. But aside from that, man, just keep buying the good stuff, keep smoking it. There's some new stuff on its way. I just can't say what it is.
Can't wait.
Well, so obviously, we have a new form of COVID with the Delta variant, and things have changed again. I know you and I have already talked about it like offline, but how has it affected your day-to-day?
And I'll tell you about how it affected mine after.
Yes, sir.
Well, the variant derailed my year, not completely, not like last year where I couldn't be on the road at all. I'm still on the road able to see accounts, but I can't do in-store events anymore. So basically big crowds, a lot of people around, I have to steer away from that. So that kind of took the wind out of my sails. I was just getting back to doing in-store events. I think people were excited to see that we were doing events again. Obviously, leading up to D25 would have been a big deal, being in Dallas. But
we were looking forward to that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of retailers supported and bought tables, and it's just one of those things. We'd rather be safe than sorry, and especially with something that's so unpredictable as this disease and virus has been. We couldn't take any chances. So
I'm curious, as a territory sales rep, like, how does that impact you and your opportunity to earn a living?
Well, to sales, it hadn't really done anything. Since last year, sales have been up. The demand is up. I think not just with our brand, with a lot of manufacturers. So it's increased demand, I think. Now, it'd be nice to see on an even playing field what we would have done without COVID. to really truly know. But I don't know if we would have done what we did without COVID. Not to say that it was a good thing, but cigar sales are up. I mean, we have supply chain issues, like a lot of people, getting boxes made for certain brands and stuff like that. But people are smoking more cigars than they were in 2019, based on the numbers. So
the world shuts down, but liquor and cigars keep selling.
That's right. Always has been, at least on the tobacco and liquor sales for sure. So I had a run-in with COVID. I don't know if it was a Delta variant or not, but had my 40th birthday, went out to Costa Rica, took my family out there. My mom had a fantastic time. And that, when you're coming back into the country, you have to be tested. Tested negative. Get back. I was here, went and played. Went to a driving range because I got fitted for some new clubs. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But next thing I know, I've got this dry cough, and it's kind of like if you've ever smoked a really, really bad cigar. It was just this incessant cough that would not go away, and then by the end of the weekend, it was just a migraine, and I don't get migraines, and Mo will tell you, I never get sick, and so we had a couple recordings scheduled for that week, and I was like, yo.
I get a text on Sunday night like 11:30. Hey, we got to cancel this recording coming up. Might have COVID. What?
It's real. It's real. So I do want to encourage all visionaries out there, take care of your health, take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones. Make sure you're doing what you feel is the best thing to do to take care of that stuff, because it's not anything to play with. I had it by the grace of God. Everything was good. Really a day and a half to 2 days of headaches, cold sweats, and
can we talk about your taste test though?
What do you mean?
Your sushi taste test? Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
You had a sushi taste test?
So I didn't know. So everybody talks about you lose your sense of taste and smell. I don't have an overly sensitive palate, so it's just like a garbage can. It all can go down there. And I was like, man, I was having a vegan, some vegan sushi that I made at home, and I couldn't taste it, but I could taste it, and it's very weird. Yeah. Anyone that's had it, that's had COVID, and everybody's different, right? But I could taste the food, but I couldn't taste any of the flavors. So I was unsure at this point, so I doused everything in some sriracha and another hot sauce, and I was like, okay.
he was like, no, I'm gonna make sure.
I'm gonna make sure. Yeah.
Well, make sure I can't taste this.
So, but yeah, that was it. But in all seriousness, everybody, please be safe. Wear your mask when you're out in public. Just make sure you're doing what you got to do.
Yeah. Last time we talked to you, we talked about the individual vision for you, Ryan Rayford, right? Not quote unquote separate from Drew Estate, because obviously you're the man. We work with you for a reason.
Yeah.
But how have things progressed for you on a professional level since the last time we talked to you?
I think it's progressed pretty well. Obviously, if people follow me on social media, I'm a big music person. I've been putting together some playlists for Drew Estate's Spotify page lately. The last few weeks, started last year, I think. So in that, I have, somewhat of a voice outside of the cigar aspect of Drew Estate. The territory that I manage has grown quite a bit. There are new shops popping up all over the place, which is, it shows that there's growth out there and there's demand for cigar lounges, which I'm a proponent of that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, everything's good, man. It's just growth. I always wanted to just prove to myself and, of course, the company that, hey, I can handle the territory and I can actually grow it versus maintain. Maintaining is very, very close to failure to me. Yeah. Yeah, given the current climate, if demand is up, then I need to be seeing some of that, So yeah, the growth path it's clear, and it's picking up new responsibilities and really helping our team. I'm a part of the West region, and they've also seen a lot of growth this year. So
what does that look like for one that's interested in working for a manufacturer? Obviously, you've got territories. You visit, cigar shops and houses all over the 3 or 4 different states that you cover. But what's the next step in the evolution process? And since we're talking about growth, like, what's that growth track look like?
I think traditionally, you get into like a regional management position possibly. That's where you're managing a team of territory salespeople. But I think within your territory, there's always going to be a challenge, right? I have a banner year this year, then I'm gonna have to meet that or beat that next year. And I'm gonna have to find different ways to still squeeze juice out of this fruit that we have. So that's always going to be a challenge. I think one thing is having stability within your market. You don't necessarily want to have a brand that's always trying to get a new person acclimated into that role. So this role isn't a 9-month, 12-month job. I've always looked at it as like this is several years of relationship building. So it's just going to take time, and for me, I think either that or getting into different things, be it brand marketing, be it more of the experiential events and stuff that Drew Estate does. There's always opportunities, to not necessarily always be a sales rep, but for right now, I love it.
He mentioned relationships, Cuff. And I got to say thank you to Crystal and Tim at Class A Vodka. You guys are more appreciated than from us. We look forward to the new bottle design, everything you guys are working on.
I still got to get a bottle from them, man.
They've been
ducking me.
Set up.
I'm just joking.
We all been busy. We all been busy, but we'll get that set up for you. But no, ladies and gentlemen, the Instagram handle is at Class A. It was Class A _ vodka, I do believe. It's Class A with a K. The slogan is Class in Every Glass. We sent on the product for a reason. Make sure you get your hands on the bottle of Class A vodka.
Class in every glass. I like that.
I'm telling you, it's the real deal. So now we can really kick back and have a good time.
Yeah, let's just chill.
So before we turn these cameras on, you mentioned his 2 best friends that recently put out albums. And I had told both of you I'm not paying attention to either one of those 2. I have my own personal
Why is that?
All right, so we're gonna get into it.
Well, let's back up. So we know. So the audience knows who we're talking about. We're talking about Drake and Ye.
We're talking about Donda's son and Toronto's very own.
So,
have you listened to the whole album?
No, I don't care to listen to it.
All right.
So, and this is going to be a further offline conversation, but so from my standpoint, right, and everyone has their own different opinion. Like we all have a different point of reference, right, when you're looking at something.
Right.
Kanye, right, I got teammates in college who swear by him. It's like the dude who made College Dropout and Late Registration, that guy don't exist anymore. He's long gone.
He's long gone.
Never coming back.
Now let me interject for a quick second. Should he be that same person?
I don't know if he should, but to my point, none of us are against evolution or growth.
Okay.
None of us are against that. But and my wife's a therapist, right? So I'm very sensitive to mental health. I get it. It's a real thing. He is clear that man is clearly suffering from a mental illness, right? It's not a joke anymore. It's not, he's clearly not there all the time. And I think he is surrounded by people who are not keeping it real with him and saying, hey man, this might be a bit of a clown move. This might not, I get he's trying to drum up interest and it's shock value and all this stuff, right? There's a reason why we respect people like J. Cole so much, because it's here's the art. There's no
big lead up. There's no hype machine.
Yeah, there's no ridiculous hype machine. There's no clown tactics. I'm gonna give you a piece of art, enjoy it. There you go. Versus all this extra fluff, and every time you turn around, he's got something weird to say, and it's come on, man, stop it, right? Drake, the other guy, hey, I can understand why a certain age demographic likes his music. I get it, no problem. But there's a part of me also thinks I just think he just panders to people. Every time, football season just started, I'm waiting to see whoever jumps out there, the first team that goes 5-0, 6-0, Drake's gonna magically be a fan of that team. Even though Toronto don't have a professional football team, Drake's gonna next thing he'll be a Packer fan or he'll be a Rams fan, or God forbid the Cowboys jump out there to be 6-1. We're gonna start seeing Drake in Dallas more often. I just think he just panders.
This is true.
He panders.
That's part of his playbook.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the pandering. that's just my personal stance on it. There's other things going on I'll tell you about. It's not for this show.
Does he pander or does he align to winners?
No, he panders. He panders.
I'm not as deep into music as I have a very deep, fond, affectionate relationship with music. Probably not to the depth that you do. But, you know, do I agree with Ye and who he was versus who he is now? Yes, I do. However, I think that is a part of the growth and evolution on that man's path. You know what I mean? And I think that people are forgetting about his producing. And they only look at him for the antics and the, you know, sideways comments and things like that.
Best thing
and
about
forget
it.
about, like,
exactly.
The man is a genius when it comes to producing.
Hey, when it comes to just the straight music, I will not argue with anybody. Clearly, he is one of one, right? Like there will only be one of him.
Well, I wouldn't say he's one of one because you got Pharrell out there.
I'm saying in the sense of like, okay, you know what? He's a musical genius.
He's
Absolutely.
special. He's in the top tier.
Nobody will argue that point. But you just said it. It's all the other extra stuff that comes with it. It's like every time you turn around, it's like you're not going to be able to enjoy whatever art he's putting out because there's so much other stuff that comes with it.
Would you say J. Cole is a global icon?
Probably not
global.
He's right there. He's popular and he's very popular in other places.
Okay.
And people it's because it's about the art. Like people know when you turn on his music, like he's just gonna give you like here's what I made.
Sure.
Versus here's what I made, but you can't even pay attention to what I made because there's all this other stuff going on.
Yeah. I think at some point he transitioned from musical genius to marketing genius.
That's where I was going.
I think that's the title that he wears now. You know, he knows how to stay in the limelight. He knows how to get people talking about his stuff. He knows how to make a spectacle of whatever he's selling. He's always selling something. Whereas before he wasn't always selling something. He was really passionate about his art, and he was selling himself. Not in a bad way.
He went from the guy who was on the table saying, I can rap, and now you put a microphone in front of him, you don't know what's about to happen.
So I've been able to, and I can't do this with everybody. Obviously, there's certain examples where I can't separate the person's acts and what they say away from their music. R. Kelly, can't separate that. With Kanye, a year ago, 2 years ago, I was very upset for reasons I'm not going to talk about things he had to say. But I gave it a once over, Donda, and it's not really good. And I say that, I know it's a blanket review, but it's not. It's just a bunch of hype, man, and it's a shame because it bears his mom's name, which I think his mom's death was a very pivotal moment in his life, and you could date back all of the crazy things that he did before and after that point, and there's a lot more crazier events that happened in his life after she passed away. I think it was a missed opportunity to really deliver on his transition to gospel music and honoring his mom in a certain way. But anytime you drop a track list of 27 songs, it's damn near impossible for more than half of those to be good. I don't care who you are. That's just too long of an album to digest. I get it with streaming because everyone drops playlists now. There's like, here's 40 songs. But for me, I still like beginning to end. Did you give me a complete, concise thought, cohesive thought? Now, the music sounds crazy. And in a good way. It sounds imaginative, it sounds creative, but there's only maybe 5 or 6 songs that actually would fall under the definition of a song structure. A lot of it is just, I think it was meant for like a Broadway show, like a movie almost. Like its soundtracks is like a verse here, there's noises here. It's not really. It's not really music. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a bunch of stuff.
To quote Steve Harvey, we got your money.
I'll say this about Drake. Drake is not. He's not on my greatest MC list. He never will be. There are things that have happened that'll disqualify him from being on that list. However,
my man, musical purist, I appreciate
when
it.
it comes to rapping and singing and making songs that are modern, I don't think there's anyone better at making a hit song out of anything. Whether it be the same formula, whether it be him writing a new wave, doing like an Afrobeat song or a Caribbean song, whatever wave it is, he will take that wave and make it a hit. And I think that's an ability that not a lot of people have.
I think he does, to your point, I think he does an amazing job of time-stamping history. You know, you can go back to a certain time period and play a song, or you can play a song and go back to a certain time period. What is it? The Hotline
Bling.
Hotline Bling. I mean, you can go back to that in your mind and remember that time period. I think he does an amazing job of capturing a season or a moment and delivering that in his artistry.
To note, Drake's latest album it's not on Young Money, Cash Money. This is his first album that's not on that imprint. So it's on his own. But he still has a distribution through Universal, I believe. But yeah, if one of those big guys decide to say, "Hey, F this, I'm gonna do my own thing," it changes everything.
The model will change again, or be a disruptor, as you like to call it.
You have to be a disruptor. I mean, we've used the word growth and evolution throughout the podcast, and that happens when you disrupt a pattern, a timeline. Mm-hmm. And to all the greats, they've I mean, from any sport to any business. I mean, you look at Amazon and Bezos.
Yeah.
Disruptor. You know, took a very, very
Didn't he go to the moon or something?
Well, go back a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Dave Flat Earth Weiss will tell you that neither him or Richard Branson, neither one of them actually went to the moon. And depending on who you talk to.
There's people out there that don't believe we landed on the moon. I'm going to say we.
There are people
NASA
out there,
landed on the
in case
moon.
you know, there are people out there who will lead you to believe that Antarctica is really north and not south.
Ooh. Yeah. I like to sample what they smoking, man. You know, what is that like?
Go back and I think it was the first or second week of August. Check out Flat Earth Day, the episode that we did, and all you visionaries.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier.
It's listen, to each his own. I mean,
but like I said before we started, I give him a lot of credit because the stuff he presented us with, like, you know, we all believe the Earth's round, whatever, cool. But he wasn't just you could tell like he hadn't been drinking before he got like he was very clear in his thought. Was like,
figures.
Hey, watch this video. Here are these facts. And it's like, okay, if this dude showed up to court, he would say, "Hey, Exhibit A, here's why the Earth's flat," versus just like, "Hey, I'm just."
I'd like to talk to like a real deal flat earther and
we'll
just
get you on the
have a
phone with him.
conversation.
He will lay it out
because
for you.
I have questions.
I'm going to tell
Lots
you
of
this.
questions.
You'll leave that conversation. You may not change your mind, but you'll definitely be like.
Definitely not changing my mind.
You respect his opinion.
You'll respect his opinion, and you'll say, you know what?
I can see why some people
I can
believe
see that. You know, he talks about like taking a flight from, was it Alaska to
Australia to
instead of coming down, you know, that way they go across and then down. And it's like, well, why would you do that?
As opposed to just going across. Yeah.
Well, when you're on a flight of that length, the flight pattern is a curve.
That's what.
Depending on who you talk to.
Yeah.
Because the Earth is round. So we're just gonna put it at that. It's not we're gonna bust a left at Anchorage and then, you know, make a hard right to Japan. That's not how this shit works.
Depending on who you talk to. Because until we met him, we just thought, hey, Earth's round, but according to him, there's like a whole.
Well, the whole thing for me was Kyrie, and I was like, what is he smoking?
Yeah.
But you start talking to FEs, I'm just saying, it makes you kind of pause.
There's a whole nother layer of not civilization, but there's a whole nother layer of Earth, if you will, past what we know to be Earth. and it's the land of milk and honey. There's all kind of resources out there. There's certain
All right,
powers
that's where they
don't.
lose. That's where they lose.
Hey, we're just telling you. Hey,
No,
we thought the same thing.
We live in an island, don't we?
Yeah, we live in an island.
Yeah.
We thought the same thing, but like I said, he might not change your mind.
Technically,
He might not change your mind, but you'll respect his opinion.
More like all of the continents and everything is in one spot, and you can go a little bit further. No, I shouldn't say a little bit. You have to go significantly further north to reach the land.
Yes,
it's deep, bro. It's deep, for real.
like I
So
said,
we'll
I
get
got a lot of questions.
Check out the episode, and we'll get you in contact with Flat Earth Day.
yeah.
All right.
What other crazy things have you heard in 2021?
Oh man. Well, I mean, with regards to COVID, still doesn't exist somehow. That's pretty crazy.
Trump's still president.
What?
There are people out there who still think Trump's president.
Oh, really? Oh.
I met one a couple weeks ago. I didn't tell you about that.
No, I want to hear about this. Can we pause on you for? I want to hear about this.
So I went to a birthday party shortly before yours, and
When was your birthday?
August 1st.
Oh, happy birthday, man. I'm an August baby as well.
Leo's.
Yeah, you know, Leo gang.
Yeah.
thirsty,
August 20th.
thirsty.
I don't know if we thirsty. We just,
It is what it is.
you gotta,
Hey,
you gotta acknowledge another king when you
Yeah.
sit next to him.
I got nothing
saying?
against August. Hey, my mom and his daughter had the same birthday,
Okay,
so it's all
well,
good.
yeah, just keep it,
But
August 21st.
There we go.
yeah,
Shout out to Adam.
yeah. Shout out to our cameraman Adam,
yeah.
who just recently got engaged.
Oh,
Went all the way to Europe to
congratulations.
get it done.
Went to Europe to pop the question.
Yeah, he did. But no, so I was at a birthday party shortly before yours, and I shouldn't say approached, somebody who I love and adore straight up told me that Trump's still president. And I was like, what? Like I know I got
Is
here
this
30.
something I know?
No.
Okay.
I was like, I know I got here 30 minutes after the party started, but how long have you been drinking? She straight up told me Trump's still president, and he's in charge, and so there are people out there who still believe
And
that.
this is a problem with social media and the internet, because you can put anything you want out there,
There's no gatekeepers.
and it just takes one or two to believe you, and then all of a sudden
This is the thing. This is the thing, and I'm not gonna get into whoever you wanted to win the last election. That's your business. Look, when your team loses, you gotta take the L just as much as you would take that victory if they won. Also, there's a lot of free thinking going on, and it covers a lot of different areas. It doesn't make you smart, bro. It doesn't make you smarter than us. There's certain things that are, and there's certain things that aren't. So I'll just say that. But there's a lot of like, well, I'm this and I'm that. It's like, well, I mean, I guess, but you can be it's too much. And I hate to say this because I don't have kids. Tell your kids they can be what they want to be, right? Like, you want to be a doctor, you want to be this, you want to be that. Be what you want to be. But there's certain things that just are. And I'm just gonna say that because I don't.
I feel. Hey, no,
You are 100% correct. I had this conversation with my wife last night. We have gotten to a place in society to where somehow, some way, everyone's allowed to justify whatever they think they're justified in, right, wrong, or indifferent. And then people use the phrase like, "Oh, I'm just living my truth." No,
That's still a lie.
exactly. Exactly.
Living my truth.
You can't be the guy out here who, you can't be a deadbeat dad like, man, I'm just living my truth. No, you're a deadbeat dad.
You're trash.
Or
You need to fix that.
hey, ma'am, I'm just living my truth. No, you're really out here kind of halfway selling yourself for money and letting dudes trick off their money. Like, you're not a businesswoman. Like, don't say that.
But I have OnlyFans.
That's a whole nother. It's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, like we're in a strange place where people can do things that the same person like that is blatantly wrong. Like we're in an era now where people think pedophilia is a sexual orientation. People are legitimately trying to say it's a sexual orientation. Like, no, you're
The thing
a child
is,
molester.
the truth to a lot of people is no longer sexy, right? It's not salacious. It's not interesting. But the truth will always be the truth. And people don't want to believe something that's boring, that this is the way things are, but they'd rather believe that maybe Trump is still president. They'd rather believe a conspiracy theory that these dark shadows and dark governments are really running everything.
Let me ask you this though, just to challenge as a devil's advocate, right? What is truth? See, we've never done this on the show, and just
we getting real into the rabbit hole. Okay, we're going to rabbit hole. Well, to me, truth is usually based upon a set of facts.
Okay,
that have been proven repeatedly over an extended period of time.
That's good.
Yeah, you know, and usually it's in math, science, health, which is a byproduct of science. When it comes to politics and right and wrong, that's where you get on a slippery slope.
Because everything's being manipulated.
Because everything can be put on a slant, right? For instance, I'm of the thought, and we can bring it back home to Texas, I'm of the thought that as a man, I can't tell a woman what they can do with their body. That's because I don't have their experience, because I'm not a woman. I'm a man. So,
but what if you identified as a woman?
I see, and that's the thing that I don't. Yeah, I don't, and I don't know how that's possible, but that's not for me to understand. And I think there's a lot. I think the problem really is that a lot of people speak on things they have no experience of. They throw their opinion at it and be like, "Man, that's wrong," or "You can't do that." Well, they did, and they can, because it's them, and they have their sovereign right as an individual human to do whatever they want to do. You can't tell someone's wrong. You may not agree with it, but it's not really your place to agree with it or disagree with it, because it's not your life.
I think a lot of times, and you kind of hit, touched on it, like people want to justify, and people want to say, this is right and this is wrong. It's not always black
I think people,
and white.
I think people want to be. There's a yearning to be accepted.
There's a yearning to be right too.
There it is. There's a yearning to be
right.
There's either a yearning to be right or a yearning to be able, like, I'm going to take a position. I'm just going to say, I'm going to use a phrase like, I'm living my truth, or I'm just doing me, in order to justify or to shield myself from something that I ultimately know is probably wrong.
Do you and doing me.
You can justify damn near anything.
Early 2000.
Yeah.
If you really put your mind to it, you can justify anything really. But I think it's more. I think it comes back to like individualism, right? Like no one should be able to tell you or write laws into place to restrict you being who you want to be.
Within reason.
Within reason. But who's to decide that reason?
Well,
does it harm somebody else?
I'm a dad, and so if you're one of those people who think that pedophilia is a sexual orientation, I'm not going to care about you saying I'm just doing me or I'm living in my truth.
I think
your truth is that you're
that's
going
an
to be
extreme outlier, but you're right.
We have people trying to justify things like that now.
That's just,
but
for lack of a better word, that's
is it orientation or preference?
No, there are people who are trying to call it orientation. It should not be
a preference because it's
well,
harmful to children.
I'm just strictly talking definition.
Right.
There are people who are literally there. If you just dig into it, there are people who are literally trying to say that it's not a perversion. They're like, oh, it's my sexual orientation.
That's just disgusting.
Yes, absolutely it is.
100%.
So, like I said, we're in a weird space. And you said people will, like you, if you're willing to be as radical as it needs to be, you can try to justify damn near anything when everyone else and their mom knows is dead wrong.
But that's the problem. Is the last part that you said. Everyone else and their mom are not saying that that's wrong. Not in this. I'm not using pedophilia.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
There's not enough people saying it.
Right.
And it's not the right people
or
saying
just a percentage of people that have this belief, so it gets legs.
Yeah. I like something you said, like, as long as it doesn't harm me, like, I don't harm others. I think we have been put in a scope of, like, we have to be about, does it bother me? Does it affect me? Then I don't care about it. And I think there's sometimes too much of that, because you lose sight of what your fellow man might be going through, vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And
so I think there's a fine line of, like, yeah, I'm gonna keep my head underground. I'm gonna let y'all cook, but damn, my coworker or my friend or this person or that person that I know is going through a whole different struggle that I can't necessarily relate to because it doesn't affect me. I think there's a fine line in that, in trying to be true to yourself and, I don't know, be a good person to someone that's going through something.
So, what you're describing to me is a gap that exists, right? And you know, I believe in growth mindset. That's what the show's about. Do you think where we are, is it more likely to be a regression, kind of back towards a stabilized? I don't want to use the word normal because I'm not trying to offend anybody, but more of a stabilized. I hate to use the word singular, but like stabilized thought process for everybody to see one thing, or because of the growth and evolution of like the ability for people to just say and do what they feel and think, do you think that it's too far back to go back to what you're asking for, to close that gap?
I think it's, I hate to say this, but I think it might be too far gone. I think it's regressed so much that it's a locomotive that's picking up steam. Everybody is segmented and there's more groups.
It was in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
So let's pivot.
But I
just
also
slightly.
feel like, okay, devil's advocate, we play it by, well, you know, I can do and say what I want to do, and I can say what I want to say. It's like, okay, yeah, you can. But no one wants to talk about the consequences of when you do what you want to do or say that what you want to say.
Well, the argument could be, well, why does there have to be a consequence?
There's always going to be consequences.
It's basic. For every action, there's a reaction.
Opposite and equal. Yeah, for sure.
If we all did what we wanted to do and said what we wanted to say, it'd be a lot of turmoil, a lot more turmoil.
To your own admission, that path is the path that we're on. Now, how far away we are from that is to be determined. But I want to slightly pivot.
Yeah, I don't want to get too doom
no,
and
but
gloom.
yeah.
It's not doom and gloom. This is reality.
But I do think like there are things set in place right now that it would make it harder for us to get to that singular place of understanding and tolerance, which I hate the word tolerance, but that's what it is. Understanding of one another to where there aren't these issues when someone says, hey, this happened to me or my group of people, we need to do something about this, we need to get some legislation passed. I'll use that example, right? We need to do this to protect these people because X, Y, and Z has been happening, it's gone unchecked and needs to be checked. And then people that don't believe that aren't a part of that group, usually their first response is no, without understanding the full issue. Whenever there's when you're opposition to everything that doesn't look like you and talk like you and come from where you come from, that's a problem. And I think 90% of us are like, nah, man, they can't do that. It's like, well, why not?
So let's slightly pivot because I want to use the content that we've talked about as anchors, okay? One of the things that I don't want to say I struggle with, but I think about is the whole idea of exactly what you're saying on, hey, you're supposed to be a growth mindset thinker, right? Anything can happen. Don't limit yourself, etc. But when you come to conversations and topics and we're deep, right? When you come to topics like this, and is it a finite answer in terms of we're going this direction and we don't have the ability to stop that locomotive? So I want to kind of hear y'all's thoughts on change or mindset in terms of I think
it starts with conversations like this, but it obviously has to happen with people that don't have the same school of thought, right? Like that's the only way true change happens. Like we could all get together, not just us, but like you can get together with a group of people and y'all share some core values, some core ideas, and yeah, you guys can high five each other all day long, but you're not going to change anything unless you actually have conversations with people that are directly opposed to what you're trying to do, or not educated enough to have an opinion, and you just go through an education phase where you're like, well, this is what it is. How about now? Type deal.
To your point, we're at the space where you just said education. People don't even want to get educated about it because people are so opposed to, like you said, if it doesn't affect me, it's not knocking on my doorstep. I haven't experienced it. Like, I can't fathom that another people are dealing with that because I just don't live in that reality.
Or
so why would I be worried about making a change to help my fellow man? That's not my daily experience.
Or what they do is they go down a rabbit hole that only supports their
opposing view,
their interest, and people don't understand how these companies like Facebook and Google and all, like, algorithms are real.
Yes, they are.
And I don't know if people, maybe, I mean, obviously the word is out, like, but I don't think people understand the depth of influence that these companies have.
Oh.
In terms of, it's not just about putting an ad in front of you. It's about the content that you're actually seeing. You know? And so now all of a sudden, if I do want to hear an opposing view, I never will, because it's all
based off my search history.
It's all based off my search history.
Yeah, you'll never see the other side, especially if you do what I do. Like, I filter my feed weekly. You know, I unfollow people. Don't want to see this. Don't like that. You know, like, get this out of here. But to your point, Facebook is not the greatest platform for constructive conversations. It's almost designed to have people to have conflict. It's not designed. Yeah, it's the comment section. It's the username that you get to hide behind and talk your stuff. Yeah, and there's no, like I said, there's no real consequence or repercussions for the things that you say to another person on that app.
And we're in this.
Well, I guess there is. Like, you can get
canceled.
You can.
Well, no, they suspend you. That's it.
They'll suspend your account. Like,
but
there's people that get suspended by saying certain inflammatory things. But even within what they flag or don't flag, there's an agenda with what they let slide and what they don't let slide. So you're playing with a bad hand. You know, the house is always going to win in that scenario. But yeah, it's not built for us to be this. I see those commercials, man, with the, you know. Shout out to all the deaf people, but the deaf guys playing basketball, and they started a Facebook group.
You ever seen a commercial, or like?
No,
you never seen a commercial?
No, I've never seen that in real life.
Oh, okay. No,
yeah,
neither have I.
So it's like, while those groups might truly exist, when I see that commercial, I think about what the Facebook that I see. I'm like, that's not what's happening on Facebook.
Well,
I mean, it could be happening. I'm sure it's happening.
You're going into marketing, which is...
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, that's not what's happening. Like, it's just...
There's not a gigantic push
but could you market what's happening? Could you market truth?
If you wanted to piss off the other half, sure.
Yeah.
You know, we smoke cigars.
The money's in the middle. The money's in the middle.
I'm going to do this. And you talk about, like, real deal marketing, and it is what it is. In other countries, and we do this to a small degree. You know, I went to Costa Rica and I got that cigar. This is what they do to discourage, you know, tobacco use because of cancer, etc.
Oh, wow.
Is that not real?
That's crazy.
So, because of the amount of money that's in advertising and marketing, we'll never see that. You get words, you get verbiage on
words on a box,
on
but not a band showing you a.
And that's on every stick.
What is this, a fetus that I'm looking at? That's crazy.
Yeah. So you know, when it comes to marketing, because of the dollars that are pumped into advertising, marketing, etc., we're never going to get truth.
And I'll have a slant.
Yeah, if you're going to Facebook,
I'm not going to Facebook for truth.
But what I'm saying is, it's created such a vacuum of misinformation that share button is so powerful, because you you're not even sharing your original thoughts about stuff half the time. You're sharing something else that someone else posted from someone else.
Your share is really just your opinion, and depending on what you're sharing,
And
what very uneducated.
And what does your share mean? Does your share mean, hey, look at this, this is crazy, I disagree? Or does your share mean, yeah, I co-sign this? Unless you put your words with that share, it's kind of just out there. And it's like, okay, like I said, it's an echo chamber of misinformation.
And I'm not saying Facebook as an information highway.
That's Twitter.
What I'm saying, yeah, true.
That's Twitter. Get it right.
What I'm saying is
Twitter's the best app in the world.
people don't understand the data that is extrapolated and how you move about your digital experience. That's taken, and you start to create a specific ideology or narrative. And you're going back to what you were saying, like you're only going to see stuff that's supportive of that. So we have to be very mindful and careful. If I do want to have a sit down, I shouldn't sit down with 5 or 6 people like me. I need to sit with 5 or 6 people that are completely different.
Right.
And we do live in this microwave society. We talked about this all the time. Part of the reality of it is that the change is not going to happen in our lifetime. It may not happen in our children's lifetime, And so, going all the way back to kind of my original pivot anchor, when you have a growth mindset, how do you deal with the change that has not happened or has not occurred? That's for either one of them.
I mean, the change that hasn't occurred, you have to...
Or maybe needs to occur would be a better way to put it.
Right. So you need to... For me, you just need to have it. You need to have it to be clear and concise. What is it that you want to change in this world, be it our lifetime or the next? And then from there, you have to actually action plan it and execute an action plan to affect such change that you want to see. Now, you can get selfish with that. Is it change for everybody? Is it change for interests that you feel strongly about as opposed to stuff that other people feel strongly about? I think it's safe to say that with regards to the country that we occupy, would I want to live somewhere else? Probably not. But are there things that I would like to see change that should have been changed a long time ago? Yeah, definitely.
You still want your 40 acres and a mule?
It's not even the 40 acres and a mule. It's the basic stuff that we all see that any decent human being can say, hey, that's not right. And most sensible people would say...
I think I'm past that. I'm past a handout or the value of what that would even equate to be. But I also feel like there's accountability with saying that someone was going to give somebody something they never got it. I think there's a debt that's owed. I don't know
what it looks like now.
I don't know what it looks like now, and I don't know how you distribute that. I don't know. But I think that there are fundamental things that just shouldn't be happening. And I'm saying that from a broad statement. I'm not saying like it's going to be someone's life's work to get some things changed in this country. And I can say that, hey, I'd like to see that change. I'd like to be an agent of that change. But at the same time, we can sit here in this lounge in these comfy chairs and life is good to a certain degree, quote unquote, but I think that we can't lose some of the things that people did die and fight for just because things are better now, which is something that gets thrown back when we say, hey, this is wrong. Well, it's better than what it used to be. Yeah, but is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could argue both sides. You could argue that it's great now, or you can argue that it's just as bad, just in a different form. You could argue either side of that.
Didn't Malcolm say if you put the blade in 9 inches and you pull out 6, there's still 3 more inches in my back, like the wound's not healed yet?
Right. And that's
something along those. I'm paraphrasing.
I think that's almost a direct quote, but I mean that's an extreme analogy for what was happening back then. Yeah. But I just think that we have to define step by step. It's not going to happen overnight. We have to define, hey, small goals. You know, my uncle used to tell me all the time, small goals. You know, you want to get here, but you got to get here, 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 here before you even see what that looks like. So we can't say, hey, man, we got to rewrite the Constitution. That stuff takes time and money to do. And you got the time or you got the money? If you got the money, let me know, man. I got some investment ideas. No, you know, and there's some people just say, hey, the ultimate victor is money. Yeah. If you make enough money, you can truly insulate. I'm not saying that. You can insulate yourselves from the ills of the world and not have to worry about it. That's not true. I don't think it's true, but I think it.
There are certain things you can bypass.
Say more money, more problems.
But people will be like, give me those problems.
Well, I want more money. Let me see for myself.
The person who's worried about their next meal is give me those problems.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, but if
is it more problems or different problems?
Does a heart attack care if you're a billionaire or a thousandaire?
No, heart attack doesn't. But if you got enough resources and you survive that heart attack, you're gonna recover a lot better than somebody. Hey, man, Joe Rogan just got COVID and took the controversial medicine. The people who are in hospital beds right now can't get that.
Oh, it gives you more exposure. There's no argument about that. But at the end of the day, money doesn't grant you life.
Money doesn't, but I think there are, and I'll play devil's advocate. There are things that a lot of people look outward for help, like they need to be helping us, or we need to help them, whatever that conversation is, depending on what the topic is. But I do think there are a lot of things still within our own control to improve our situations, to improve the next generation's situations, and that's the conversation that a lot of people can have, and some people don't feel like they don't make enough money for it. But no, there's little things that people can do to set up their children's lives to be better than what they experience.
You know, that's exactly what this show is all about. It's just providing a blueprint or blueprints from other people's perspective, what they've experienced. You know, if I want to become a territory manager for a cigar manufacturer, I need to listen to this episode. If I want to start my own vodka line, here's what I want to do. If I want to open up my own cigar lounge, here's
there's people to talk to.
And that's I love what you said about small goals. Stack the small goals or small wins up, because if you stack enough of those up, you will find yourself at your ultimate goal or your desired state.
Yeah, you will.
So, man, this has been a really deep.
It's about how bad you want it and how much is it worth it to you.
100%.
Before we transition, because I see where you're going, I have to say thank you to the good folks at Dallas Leaf LLC. Hey, we appreciate the sticks, ladies and gentlemen, visionaries, listeners, followers, subscribers, all of the above. Whether it's cigars, entertainment, charity events, whatever it might be, give the folks at Dallas Leaf LLC. The web address is dallasleafllc.com. The Instagram handle is at Dallas Leaf LLC. Make sure you reach out to them. We promise you won't be disappointed.
And, we always land the plane. We're going to do a little bit different tonight because it's a special night. We got the 3 Ryans in the building.
Come on now.
And I think we just kind of wanted to sit back and chop it up.
Yep.
And just have a different groove, right? But want to give a big shout out for Grand Brûlot.
Francisco, thank you.
All they do
thank you,
for
sir.
us, fantastic cognac liqueur. It's absolutely amazing.
Look at y'all, man. Y'all got big liquor sponsors and stuff. Y'all,
Drew Estate, come on.
Yeah, come on, Drew Estate. We sat
Y'all
down.
done came up, man.
Shout out to you and Jameson, man. You know, about a year, 18 months ago, whatever.
Not a year.
Maybe a year ago. Yeah, about a year ago. I met with you and Jameson. He just happened to be in town for his birthday. Shout out to Jameson. And I said, hey, here's what we got. And shout out to Jameson again. He's like, here, you got to talk to Francisco. And Francisco's been great since we actually got to meet him in person. Yeah. Whenever we talked to him on the phone, it's a great conversation. The man got on a plane and flew down here and met with us. So, no complaints, man. Shout out to Grand Bureau Cognac. Get you a bottle.
100%.
I'm trying to get a bottle, Jameson.
We'll get it. We'll make it happen for you.
And one of those hats you wear when you smoke cigars. Throw that in too.
I want to see you in a hat
Nah,
like that.
not like that.
Jameson.
I don't know if I
You
gotta.
rock the brim.
I can't do the brim stuff,
think
man.
you
I
can.
can't do the Zorro hats, man.
Jason's cleaner than the Board of Health, man.
I can't do the Bond villain hats, man. I can't do it. My head's too big.
Nah. You good.
I'll do a ball cap every now and then, but
Something
yeah.
out there for everybody.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's land the plane. You've been on the show before. You're familiar with how we do things. I want to change it up a little bit. There's a couple of words that we've talked about throughout this show. Evolution. When I say that, what does that mean to Ryan Rayford?
Reinvention. Not remaining stagnant. Open to new ideas, new ways of doing things. Open to learning. Open to receiving information, man. There's a lot of people that don't like to listen.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of people that don't like to listen. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth. So yeah, that's what it means to me. You know, take something and make it into something completely different, better. Evolution is about getting better.
When you say evolution, you know what the first thing I thought of?
What's that?
Snoop Dogg. If there's ever a case of evolution, the guy went from being the rapper in our childhood that we all know and love, and now he's selling Coronas and gin and is on TV shows with Martha Stewart.
I was somewhere.
That is evolution and reinvention.
I was
I've
at a
ever
lounge.
seen.
I was at a lounge recently, and somebody made a comment about. It's like, man, Snoop Dogg is just the coolest ever. Like, he's just so cool. It's like, yeah, he beat a murder case too. So yeah, to look to where he's, you know, steered his career musically, and then also as a celebrity and as a spokesperson, and just being like, he's always going to be just that cool person that could sell us anything, could tell us about anything, and always have an entertainment value to it. And he's just kind of, you know, he's a forever. His name is a forever brand.
He's like
He's
the
an
black,
icon.
he's like the Black Willie Nelson.
Yeah,
Like, just no one will ever have a problem with him.
no, it's Snoop Dogg, man.
Well, let's be real. No one wants to hear a 50-year-old talking about gangster rap.
I mean, no,
This is true. And he was
unless it really happened,
But he was bright enough to realize that too.
like memoirs or something.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Bright
yeah.
enough to realize it and to evolve.
No, and that's, I think your example was, you know, fantastic.
Like when we were teenagers, would you have ever thought about the dude who made Doggy Style is now on TV with Martha Stewart?
no, not a chance. And I never would have thought Ice-T would have had his transition.
The dude who made
into-
Colors is now plays a cop on TV.
plays a cop on TV.
He made a song called "Cop Killers,"
Yes.
and he plays a cop in every television show. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
So growth happens all over the place.
It's possible. For those of you not paying attention, whatever you put your mind to, it's possible.
That's right. That's
possible.
right.
That's funny.
I'll leave you with this one, Rayford. Change agent, because you said that word before. That's big, or those two words. That's big.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It could be an event. It could be something that happens. For most people, change comes from an actual event. You know, something that happens in their lives to where they have to get right or suffer the consequences. So I think change agent they're always important. There's always forks in the road. You're always going to have to make tough decisions in life. And you also, not knowingly, trust the foresight that your decision is going to be the right one. So change is always going to be a decision you have to make.
My man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you being on the
Appreciate
show.
y'all, man. Brother. You know, if you ever need a co-host, you know,
Anytime,
y'all got
you know,
my number,
doors,
man.
The door's wide open for
Doors
you,
open
bro.
for you. We got plans.
if I can, you know, you can pay me in bottles. See how y'all get down.
It's a done deal. They'll be hot though.
Hot bottles in the trunk.
To all of our visionaries, thank you again for tuning in. If you haven't had the opportunity, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button here on our YouTube channel. And remember, each one of our guests are leaving nuggets of wisdom here on the Trail of Life. At the end of the day, folks, it's up to you to pick them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He is Ryan Cuffey. He is Ryan Rayford of Drew Estate Cigars. Thank you again to Edwina Brown and the family here at Blowing Smoke Cigar Lounge in their brand new location, 1604 North I-35 here in Lancaster. We will see you guys next week on another great episode of the Vision Lab podcast.
Peace.
Blessings.